Yeah, calisthenics number 12. Yeah. Fly robotics. Bifocals, my only purpose is to feed the locals. I'm spreading love when I see you and gotta approach you. I see the goodness in you, I wouldn't John Wick you. I know you hustling for your family just to pay the fiscal. I see the God up in you, He bless your physical. While we navigating problems, the world is abysmal. Skip the one up, let's get it to the center. Your house is big as mine, we can always help each other. Affirmation smother, it ain't even cost me a dime to uplift my brother.
What's going on, everybody? I'm coming to y'all live tonight by myself, man. How y'all doing out there tonight? Hey, listen, I wasn't planning on doing it by myself, but hey, everybody bailed on me, so I'm here. But I didn't want to leave y'all with nothing, so I kind of wanted to talk about a couple of things that I've been noticing about Black masculinity in my sessions as a therapist. And I wanted to, have a conversation with y'all to see if we can explore some of the narratives around Black masculinity and give space for Black men to share kind of what they were taught and how things have shaped them, and and kind of what are we intentionally unlearning. So this will I'm trying to provide validation for other men and education for any women who might be listening to kind of, move the conversation forward, so to speak. And I want to start with, first of all, how y'all doing out there, man? What we got in the chat, okay? What's going on? What's going on? Thank you for joining me tonight. I sure appreciate you. I see some numbers out there, man. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. I won't be long. I'll take about 15, 20 minutes of your time. And please, if you have any questions, you want to jump into the conversation, please do so. I'm welcoming every comment. I definitely want to make this an open conversation. But I did want to share with y'all, because I had to do this. I kind of wasn't really, I was led to do this by some of the conversations I've been having in session over the last couple of weeks. And what I'm noticing about Black masculinity is that it has been shaped more by survival than authenticity. And from a young man, many black boys are taught to be tough, right? Emotionless, resilient. I literally had a client this week tell me that he was told basically at 13 by his father, it's time to stop crying. It's over with, right? It's over with. And I've heard that so many times in session, and I really want to talk to y'all about, how do y'all feel about that, man? What do you think that it is that we need to unlearn about some of this stuff, and how is this making us show up in our relationships, in our fatherhood, in our work environments? What is it doing? Because that's not healthy, telling a Black boy not to cry no more. I'm just gonna be real with you. That's not healthy. I've worked with grown men, I've worked with young boys, and I know that, I literally work with a young child right now who is 13, terrified to talk to his father about not even wanting to play certain sports, right? He's terrified. So imagine you have a son, or you're somebody's son, and you don't feel safe to go talk to your father about how you want to live your own life. Tell me about that, man. What y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? Because this is a necessary conversation in a world that basically criminalizes us for softness and dehumanizes us for vulnerability. This has led to emotional suppression, and that being mistaken for a strong man. Don't cry, man up. You got to be the man of the house. Okay? And without context, those things are really physically harming us. They're really physically harming us. So, these aren't just cultural sayings. They're defense. This ain't just something you hear it's defense mechanisms passed down in households shaped by racism, economic instability, which is, basically financial trauma, passed down to incarceration, and trauma. So that's one. My watch talking for no reason. That's one of the things that I noticed. Another thing that I notice is there is a deep emotional hunger beneath the performance of strength. Okay. Talk to me. Thank y'all. Big Mac, what's up, brother? Lawrence Lamar, appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming out tonight. How you feeling, bro? I'm good. I'm glad to see you, man. How you doing? Thank y'all for being here. I really appreciate it. Okay, what I was saying was there's a deep emotional hunger beneath the performance of strength. So when you strip away, all that macho stuff, the silence, the anger, and just plain out, I'm just trying to be cool, you find that a lot of black men are lonely. They really are. They're scared to trust and longing to be seen, not just respected, right? We gonna get our respect. I walk in the room when I was a teacher. I walk in the room, I'm automatically getting respect. I get that, but there's a lot of times that I didn't. I felt lonely. I definitely didn't trust anybody, and plenty of times where I just kind of wanted to be seen. Okay, talk to me in the chat if you feel any of that, man. If you've ever felt that way, and haven't really felt like you've had the words to express that or say that out loud because you have a fear of just being called soft or whatever it is, Um, yeah, Big Mac says as a parent you have to talk to your sons. I have two sons. You have to talk to them about expressing their feelings. I don't want my sons to process these things the way that I processed them growing up. I never felt safe being vulnerable. I know I'm not the only one. And Jenner, I'm 44 years old. So I know there's a generation of men who never felt safe expressing their feelings. And some of that, in some form or fashion, has come back to bite you in some kind of way. I know it has, bro. I know it has. So we don't lack feelings. We feel stuff. We sometimes lack the language and the permission to express our feelings. We're seeing more black men begin to explore today, you know, um, because there's a less resistance and less shame in the world. But even still, when you know better, as a therapist, I know better. I know better, and I still struggle with being able to express myself in certain forms. And if I'm in a room full of men, I'm not always the first to jump out and be like, "Hey, I love you." You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's just and it affects us not only mentally, but it starts to affect us physically. And I can guarantee you, like your body keeps the score of your emotions, man. That's a real thing. You're gonna see that in your high blood pressure and your diabetes, all the things that us stroking out, all the things that eventually jump on our backs. A lot of it has to do with the fact that we're not at peace, constantly keeping things bottled up. That's stressful, bro. That's stressful. You know. Another thing I wanted to talk to y'all about, man. Many brothers are working right now and actively unlearning and redefining what manhood means. I see that. I work on that. I'm openly talking to people right now who are working on changing that narrative and trying to understand what it's like to be emotionally vulnerable and still create safety for ourselves, because we want to be able to talk about certain things without feeling like our masculinity is being compromised. I'm not less of a man because I tell you that I'm hurt. Okay. I'm not less of a man because I'm telling you I don't like this or I don't feel good about this. All right. I want to be seen for more than just my performance. You know, I want to be understood, heard, and all the things that come with that. So whether it's through therapy, because we're becoming fathers, and our fathers, talk to us through that belt, and we don't want to talk to our kids like that. Some of us do. Some of us still think the belt is the way. Whether it's just through brotherhood, man, just talking to each other and having more conversations with men. I mean, when I was a teenage boy, I lied to my friends all the time, and I'm sure they was lying to me about all kind of stuff, you know. But that was just part of what it was. So, but more black men are rejecting that outdated blueprint about choosing authenticity over, being stoic and cold. And a lot of men, as funny as this may sound to y'all, some of us are embracing softness. Now, they some might call it, oh, you getting sassy, whatever. But no, man, it's not about that. It's about embracing rest, bro. I'm tired. I'm tired of holding and carrying everything. I'm tired of that. I want to let some of this go. I want to talk to my brothers about what they dealing with. You know, especially as a young person, as an older person, embracing getting older and aging. You have to have a conversation with somebody about that, man. You got to have a conversation with somebody about that. Getting older sometimes is hard, man, because we can't. It's not just a sexual thing. You can't perform in a lot of ways that you used to perform, and that's hard for men. That's hard for men to accept. You know what I'm saying? It's hard, bro. So I want you. I mean, we embracing softness. A lot of us are trying to be accountable and recognizing that the way we're showing up in certain situations isn't necessarily healthy, and we need to do better. Okay. Um, we embracing emotional intimacy, not just with our women, but with, like I said, with our brothers. Um, and recognizing that's being whole, sitting down and having conversations with our brothers and talking about things that's bothering each other. And we seeing a shift from that silent suffering to intentional healing. You know what I'm saying? Talk to me if you understand what I'm talking about, man. Let me know. Okay. And I want y'all to understand that we are trying to create emotional safety for Black men. That's what the mission I'm on. You know, I want to be able to create emotional safety for Black men and make them and help them create emotional safety for their women or their partners, or whatever in their relationship with. Okay. We in the barbershops, in our friend circles, in relationships, in therapy, we need to create emotional safety in these spaces. It's not enough to tell a Black man to be vulnerable. We need to respond well when they are. Stop laughing at brothers who's crying, okay? Who's showing emotion. All right. Let's stop making fun of them. Let's stop calling them names. Let's stop rolling our eyes. We need to respond well when brothers are without judgment. We need to respond well when people are being vulnerable. Are we listening without judgment? Are we making space for softness, for confusion, for grief? Man, we losing. I mean, and grief is just not mean loss of life. Some of us got to grieve the fathers that we never had, that we wish we had. And that man's still alive. That man's still alive. But he's never going to be the man that I wanted him to be. So I got to grieve that. Stuff like that, or the career went wrong some kind of way. I thought in my mind I was going to be doing this for the rest of my life. Now it's not a possibility for me anymore. I got to grieve that dream. I'm not able to have kids for whatever reason. I got to grieve that dream. There's a lot of things that you got to do. It's not just about death. Sometimes you got to grieve what you thought you had for yourself. Okay. So I want y'all to consider that. And I want to help y'all start early with these messages. Black boys are often called little men as early as 3 or 4 years. Hey, what's up, little man? And they're treated like little men early, expected to do everything right, or they got behavior issues, they're getting calls home, all these things, right? But we're not allowing our little Black boys to be kids because we know they can't go into certain spaces and be a kid because we know why, right? We know why. So we got to give them opportunities to be boys. Okay. We got to give them opportunities to be boys. We got to protect their innocence and not rush them to the stoicism. It's tough though, right? Because there's a layer that of this country, especially when we talk about American Black boys, where we have to prepare them for a different type of warfare out there, you know. Um, and I understand the line. I understand where it is. So I'm not asking you to be dishonest with your children. I don't recommend that. I recommend total honesty. But if there's ways for us to enhance the protection of their innocence, then you know what I mean. I want us to try to do that some kind of way. Okay. Um, we got to pay attention to how we talk to them about crying, how we talk to them about love, how we talk to them about fear, because the story of their brain is just early is getting written, and when that story of your brain is still on your mind right now as a grown man, something that was written when you were a child, and your brain has done everything in its power to protect you from what you are afraid of, and that is why you behave the way that you do. All right, that is like it seems like the brain's number one function, and sometimes, and most times, and what I'm experiencing in my counseling practice is that most come on, man, put that out. Most times, fear is going to trump logic. Okay, fear is going to stop. Fear is going to trump logic. Okay, all right. So, um, yeah. So who's telling our stories? We watch TV, we watch movies, and we have lived experience, but we need to elevate the voices that talk about healing, that promote vulnerability. Um, there's the multi-dimensional black male identity. We're not a monolith at all times. There's several different versions of us. And some guys feel comfortable with the stoicism. I'm not criticizing them, man. If you're at peace, then do what it is that makes you at peace. I'm talking to the men who are not at peace with that stoicism, who feel tired, who feel worn out, who don't feel like there's a space for their emotional safety. Those are the guys that I'm talking to. You know, so I really want y'all to consider what that is. All right, and elevate those voices. So who's telling our story, right? All right, I don't got much more to say to y'all. I just wanted to explore some of those narratives and kind of see where we could take this conversation in just this brief amount of time. You know, so y'all let me know kind of what is on your mind. What are you thinking about? I know for many of us, like I said, for many black men, it's a very harmful narrative, right? Around masculinity. And I really wanted to have this conversation. We inherited a definition of manhood that's just rooted in survival. Okay. And I want to be able to move us out of survival, or at least have conversations that help move us out of survival and into a thriving space. Okay. Okay. I appreciate you, Mike. Thank you for that comment, brother. Thank you. Um, like I said, I had a panel of men tonight, um, and they all bailed on me. So, well, a couple of no shows and a couple of hey, I can't make it. But and I wasn't going to do this, but somebody talked me into it. So I'm not always as comfortable. This is me being vulnerable right here. I'm not always comfortable, sitting on this panel by myself. What we got here, Shirley? I'm looking for a male therapist for my son. Dr. Umar Johnson was going to help me with him, but he was so busy. I normally like to do his therapy via FaceTime or the phone. So okay. Yeah, you can do that, Shirley. My website is right here. You can reach out to you get on my website and reach out, and I will definitely reach out back, and we have a conversation about your son. How old is your son, by the way, Shirley? Um, yeah, Big Mac says knowing when to ask for help has always been an issue of mine. You're not alone in that, Big Mac. You're not alone in that, man. We often struggle with asking for help. You know, you're not alone in that. That's something I have a problem with too. Um, are you getting better at it, or are you still struggling with it? Because right now, asking for help for Black men can often feel like a weakness, a failure, and we're exposed. It's not just about pride, it's about protection. I don't want to be seen as someone who can't get the job done. If I admit that I need help, I lose control, I lose power, I look soft, I look needy, and in this world, that can get me killed, literally killed or rejected. That's a real reality for a lot of us, Big Mac. So I hear you, bro. You're not alone in that feeling. This isn't And it's not accidental, man. It's passed down from generations and reinforced by every time we turn on the news or every time we show up for work, every time we in different circles, especially, professional Black men or Black men trying to climb different ladders. Culturally, we are taught to just figure it out, man up, instead of asking for help. We we get praised for just being providers, but shame when we have some needs. Come on, brother. Y'all hear me what I just said? Did y'all hear what I just said? We get praised for being providers, but shamed when we have needs. Shame when we have needs. Curry, thank you, brother. I really appreciate the support, man. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate all of y'all for riding with me right now. I see it's a good number of people out there watching, and I appreciate every single one of y'all. Thank you. Yeah, I thank God for my uncles as well. My uncles were a good sounding board for me. They weren't really They really teach me a whole lot of vulnerability, to be honest. Um, but they were present, and sometimes presence is that all you have to offer? I'll take it. If that's all you have to offer, I will take it. I can't ask people to give what they don't have. Okay, 15, Shirley, got it, got it. I'll definitely reach out. We can do a consult and have a conversation, and see if there's any way I can help you. I appreciate you considering me. Thank you very much. But yeah. So there's a back to let me finish my thought on this ask for help thing. Um, the cost of that, the cost of not asking for help, silent suffering. You suffering in silence, which is painful. Isolation in relationships. Isolations in relationships. Emotional shutdowns, or eventually the big blowups. The big blowups because you didn't shut down over and over and over again, and you feel unseen and misunderstood, and then those triggers get pulled, and then bam, you blowing up. You can't even control it. And afterwards, you feel probably like an idiot for blowing up. You know, um, health issues, like I told y'all, that's the cost of not asking for help. And then that generational trauma goes unchecked. I want y'all to remember that. And then you just passing that same mindset down to the next generation, whether it be your sons, your nephews, your grandchildren, just passing it down. Appreciate you, Illy. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank y'all so much, man. This means a lot to me. These affirmations mean a lot to me. Like I said, I really wasn't cool. I really wasn't trying to do this by myself, but y'all doing a lot for me right now. Thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah, we need to shift that mindset, man. It's not weakness. It's not a weakness to ask for help. You know, Big Mac, I'm gonna just share that. I met you in real life, bro. I would ask you for help in a flash. So I hope that you would do the same, have the same amount of respect for me, and ask me for help as well, man. I would ask you for help in an instant if I needed your help, man. So, and that's because I love you, brother, for real. I can't do, that's where the strength comes in. Basically saying I can't do this alone. You know, hey, I went to therapy and it changed my life. Are y'all going to therapy? The black men in y'all life going to therapy? Are y'all considerate? Are you afraid of it? Tell me what y'all been feeling about therapy. I didn't go to therapy because I was like smart and emotionally intelligent. I had no choice. I broke down. And I had to go. I mean, actually I did. I mean, I checked myself in, but I didn't know what it was when I checked myself in. And I just knew I didn't want to keep feeling like I was feeling. So I checked myself into, this is, some years back, into a mental institution. And that was my introduction into therapy. They had us in therapy twice a day, you know? And for the first 2 days, it was group therapy. The first 2 days, I didn't say nothing. I didn't say a word. I kind of felt like I don't really need to be here. I don't belong here. And as you can see how that turned out, I'm a whole therapist now. So, but initially, no, I was not going to ask for help. I was going to keep put my head down, keep suffering in silence until a point where I was just about to break. So I need to know, man. Okay, Ellie says I need therapy. All right. Larry says, hey, it's wise to ask for help. It's wise to, yeah. You're right, Larry. You're right. So, like, I want y'all to I want y'all to go. I want y'all to consider it. If you really feel like you reached a point where you just kind of don't actually know what to do, because I can't imagine being a black man in this country and not needing therapy. What I said, huh? I can't imagine being a black man in this country, the United States of America, and not needing therapy. And yeah, Big Mac is right, man. I hear you, Big Mac. Be proactive. I wasn't proactive. I'm gonna tell you straight up. I'm telling y'all what I should have done. And I don't like to say should because I don't like to should all over myself. But I did not have. I wish I could tell you that I was proactive in my journey, but I wasn't. I reached a point where I broke. But there was plenty of times when I lost my mother at 15. I lost my father at 16. I didn't go to therapy until I was in my 30s. So do you think in that 20 years, that I didn't need to process some of that grief and what I was believing about myself was I was out there struggling, had my own apartment when I was a senior in high school. I don't need no therapy. Yeah, I needed therapy. I was terrible in relationships in my 20s. I mean, it was just a lot of mess. I was a mess. I was a lot of mess. And I was just going through the motions. So it took me just that building up. And I finally broke. And then I said, oh, let's go to therapy. Let's go to therapy. You know? Um, you know? So I just kind of want to share that with y'all, man. Share the little pieces of that journey and see if y'all can consider hopefully inspire somebody to go to therapy. Okay. All right. Let me see. What else do I want to talk to y'all about before I get off of this thing, man? I didn't talk too much. So some things I want to leave with y'all, man. When was a time that you needed help and you didn't ask? Think about that. And I want you to consider what held you back. Okay. What held you back? And what would have made it easier for you to ask for help? Think about these things. These are the kind of questions that I help you process when you're in the therapy space. So, these are the type of things I want you to think about because understanding the reasons behind the way you show up, is is one of the main catalysts for the healing journey. All right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna end it right there, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all joining me tonight. What I gave y'all, man, I gave y'all 30 minutes. I gave y'all 30 minutes. I was only supposed to be on. I was only gonna be here for 15, 20 minutes. I gave y'all 30. Listen, you can find me at realuconsulting.com. All my socials are on there. The link to the podcast is on there, but if you're watching, you already know how to find that. But if you ever want to share my information with anybody, just go to realuconsulting.com and we can link up, or I'll link up with whatever you need me to link up with. I appreciate y'all joining me tonight. Thank you so much. I'm gonna do this more often because I feel much more comfortable knowing that it made a difference for some of us. All right, so I'm gonna do this more often. I'm not gonna rely so much on guests and people coming to have these different conversations. And I was unprepared to do this by myself, so hopefully when I come back, I'll be more prepared to talk to y'all and interact with y'all. And like always, man, if you have any questions, please reach out. I will answer questions either on the show or in these chats, man. All right. I have no problem sharing my lived experience and my expertise with anybody who needs it. I'm only on one thing. I'm really trying to get as many brothers as I can out of that survivor space into a thriving space, because I truly, truly believe that we are much, much better and healthier as a community if the Black man is healthy and whole. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. We are much better in that space. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night, man. Thank you very much.